All right.
Yo, what's going on, Kweku?
What's up, bro?
Yeah, man, doing good. So, my name is Tarami Reedus. I run a brand called Drumz Uhuru, and the mission is to get percussionists of the African folkloric diaspora together and elevate our voices, elevate our experiences and perspectives within the music space, within the culture space, and really just in the world. It's something that has impacted my life deeply and greatly, and I'm sure it has for you as well. And I have a list of questions that I would like to ask you. So yeah, let's get into it.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Sorry for being a little late. I had to run and pick my daughter up from school.
It's all good, man. No
So,
worries, no worries. So first off, how did you get introduced to the djembe?
how did I get introduced to the djembe? I got introduced to djembe through my uncle, my grandmother's first son. His name is Mahiri Fajimba Keita Edwards, and he was my first drum teacher, my first teacher, music teacher. He introduced me. He introduced me to the djembe.
That's wonderful. And at what point did you realize in that journey that you wanted to take djembe drumming seriously and by extension take music seriously?
Uh, I started taking djembe serious. I had my first professional gig at 4 years old. But I would say my the the um the teaching and the training, and when I say training, I mean like serious training. That started when I turned 7. That started when we turned 7. My cousin and I, when we turned 7, that's when my uncle, his name is Mahiri. That's when he was allowed to start teaching us and training us um, with a little more like rigor.
Yeah, yeah, the great Baba M,
Yeah.
great guy. Um, what did that training look like for y'all?
Well, it consisted of a lot of stuff. Number one, knowing the instrument inside and out, right? So knowing how the djembe is made, and also knowing the music inside and out, from literally the inside to the out. So starting with the sangba, which is the mother, going to the dunumba and the kinkini, and then going to the rest of the djembe orchestra, and then also knowing the drum itself inside and out, learning how to carve a drum, learning how to wrap rings and put assemble a drum together. My cousin and I we used to have to do this thing called djembe camp. What's up? We used to have to do this thing called djembe camp every summer. And it wasn't a big camp. It was just me, my cousin, and maybe one other person who was like an adult learning how to make djembes, right? And we will be responsible for semi assembling at least like 20 drums a person, right? So yeah, and I'm like 7, 8, 9, you know what I'm saying? So we would have to rap. We would be sitting there rapping rings, and my earliest, or my most fondest memory is my uncle, being so frugal with materials. He would he wouldn't let us use a whole roll of tape. He would give us a piece of tape, like this is how much tape you had to use to wrap this ring. So if you went over, you would have to start over, right? You have to unwrap and then wrap it again. It had to be, the ring had to be smooth, the tape had to be smooth, yeah, all of that. So that's probably my fondest memory, or the memory that's probably like most attainable for me right now. Yes, I can help you. What you want to make? Are you gonna make a sandwich by yourself? All right. Um, and yeah, like just putting the drums together. You gonna say hi? Putting the drum,
Hello.
my dog. Putting the drums together, and then learning the rhythms. Like, there was nothing could be written down. Everything had to be memorized. And like learning all of these different solo techniques and learning how to play for the dance. But we didn't start learning. We weren't able to solo for a very long time. The soloing aspect of djembe music didn't we didn't get to that until we got into like double digits. So yeah, I want to make sure I'm answering your question. What did the training consist of? Yeah, a lot of stuff. Knowing the instrument inside out, knowing the music inside out. We also had some physical stuff like my teacher came up with this program called djembe wushu, where we would have to play the djembe for like 45 minutes to an hour without the djembe. So we have to stand up and air drum, right? In all the different djembe positions, like a ballet dancer, where you have the different positions of the feet. So we have all these different positions that you had to know, and you stand up and you play. It's a really good workout. And sometimes we would do a weighted, sometimes he would give us weights. That didn't start till we got into our teenage years. But that really helps with endurance building, and muscle memory, just knowing where the drum is without having the drum, with you. I'm trying to think of other things that our training consists of. Oh man, like unloading and loading drums, man. Oh my God. Like early on, like, being really young, having the drum like be so heavy and like falling on you, and you had to like, carry it to the car, and it's just two people, just me and my cousin, and we unloading 30 to 40, 50 drums. Um, and having to know all of the parts. For if my uncle is teaching a class, we would have to make sure we knew all the parts and we couldn't forget anything. Another thing that was stressed on us was like when we were on stage is no talking. We couldn't talk when we were on stage when we were younger. We used to get in a lot of trouble for talking on stage. My dad would be upset at us if he caught us like talking on stage. We would have to find other ways to communicate because it was deemed like unprofessional. Um, yeah, so that's like the early training. I would say if I'm missing something and it comes back to me, I'll just kind of interrupt you.
Yeah, man, that's intense. I mean, that's intense. I don't know anybody that has taken djembe that seriously. Like, I don't even know if the Africans themselves are. I mean,
No,
I know their training, right? They have their programming and their culture and their traditions. But I guess as far as here being African American, a group of people that are that dedicated to the craft is very outstanding.
yeah, well, the beautiful thing about African Americans and this music is that djembe music and the djembe itself would not be prevalent without African Americans. Even the three ring system, and the post peg, post sew the skin to your djembe system, that wouldn't be here without African Americans. And also the pedagogy and epistemology of djembe and how like it could be organized, and also how it could be taught. That wouldn't be here without African Americans. And my uncle is very wise and very intelligent, and he had the wherewithal and the foresight to know that like, okay, I'm gonna put everything that I can and then some into my students at an early age. This is early, so I mean I was born in '97, so like this is the 2002s, threes, fours, fives, six, seven. You know what I'm saying? And it's a little bit different with people coming up in West Africa, um, because how can I explain it? Like, um, a lot of stuff, a lot of our stuff was like, I want to say more organized, but just like, well, because it was less of us, because there's less of us, like it was just me for a long time. It was just me, my cousin, and my uncle, right? So what he says goes. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have a lot of like different birds in our ears. I mean, we studied with other people. Like we would study with Baba Manes Yahuda, who's based in Baltimore. We used to study with the grandmasters. The Famadus and the Mamadis. And like I was able to travel. I mean, I traveled to Guinea when I was young, so I was able to see like a lot of different stuff. Um, but there was still always that home base. Like we have a home base. It's like a kung fu student or a martial artist who comes from a specific teaching. It's like he or she is not just gonna just jump be in the temple for 5 years and then just go somewhere else and then come back and then go somewhere else and come back. That wasn't really how it was for us. So, and a lot of the way we were taught has to do is coming out of the like the martial arts canon, because my uncle and my dad grew up watching martial arts. Either one, whichever one is open. Why you do the bread like that? Did you cut the crust off? Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah, man, that's dope. That's real deep, man. That's real deep. Mad respect for y'all's work and you know just what y'all are doing for the culture. Um, I didn't realize that it started off as such a small group, and in the early stages, at least for you, my understanding is that you know Farafina Kan has been around for a minute. Like you have the legacy group with you know Baba M and others. Um, so how did kind of Farafina Kan Next Generation come about? What is your experience with that, and sort of getting you know yourself and your brothers together to sort of you know do what y'all are doing?
So Farafina Kan originated in 2004. It was founded by Mahiri, my uncle. My dad is Mahiri's younger brother. He's the manager of the group. Um, so Farafina Kan was officially founded. Get down, hey, get Jabbar, get down. Farafina Kan was officially founded in sorry. Farafina Kan was officially founded in 2004 um, by my uncle, and um, you know it was is a lot of the first members were Mahiri, Manes, Mallory, Amadou Kuyate, Jabari, Exum, my dad Diallo Sumbry, and Kofi Handon, and Kweku Handon, who plays djembe, and then also you had Jabbar, who played bass djembe from Baltimore. If I'm missing anybody, blame my mind, not my heart. I'm not missing anybody. Those are the core musicians, if I'm not mistaken. And then you had the vocalists and dancers, Lucina, Fofier, Nakinji, Bintu, the original four, and then you have Akosua, who it was Fofier's younger sister who came along. So that was how Farafina Kan first started, and then my group Farafina Kan, quote unquote next generation, we just go by Farafina Kan performing ensemble or Farafina Kan just period. But we started coming about or coming into our own. First, we were Farafina Kan youth ensemble, and we were doing so many shows every year. Um, and this was when we were in middle and high school, right? And so we would be being taken out of school to go travel to do shows in Kalamazoo, Philadelphia, New York, Atlanta, North Carolina, Virginia, Baltimore. We were just everywhere with it, right? But we didn't have a say in what our schedule was or essentially what we would be performing. It wasn't until after I graduated high school, right? I graduated high school in 2015, and I moved to New York in the summer of 2015. When I moved to New York in summer of 2015, I joined a group in New York called Asasaya Dance Theater, which was founded by Yao Babio and managed by Osei Babio. Osei Williams. And when I was there, these are like my uncles and my godfathers. When I moved to New York, I started performing with them, and I just my horizons were just growing. So when I came back home, my brothers were already kind of like doing shows a little bit already, and but we hadn't necessarily like officially said that we were Farafina Kan Next Generation. No, until we did our first show as Farafina Kan Next Generation in 2016 at Birthright. No, in 2016 at Birthright, which is our annual show every summer in August. So that's when we decided that okay, we're gonna be Farafina Kan, Farafina Kan Next Generation, and so that was like 2016.
Yeah, yeah, dope, man, dope. Um, I want to ask you this with, djembe sort of expanding globally, all kinds of people coming to djembe for various reasons. What, from your view and your experience and your training and teaching, makes a djembe fola?
What makes a djembe fola? Hmm, it's a good question. Mm, in this day and age, man, everybody, everybody has pretty much has their own definition. Hold up. Everybody pretty much has their own definition of what djembe fola means, but djembe fola technically means like a djembe master in a sense, or a djembe like somebody who's um, really proficient, a djembe player, but like a grand player, like you know what I'm saying. So just somebody who has studied, who has a teacher, who comes out of some type of teaching, some type of pedagogy. You have to have a teacher, even if your teacher is Johnny Bone Jones. It don't matter, but at least you're coming out of some type of school. You have something that you can refer to. Um, it's hard to be a master without a teacher. You know, every master had to submit to a master. So I would say somebody who is well studied, and well versed in different languages of the djembe, not just one style. Somebody who's well versed in different languages, and then somebody whose technique is close to impeccable, or just on the road to impeccable. Like your technique needs to be clean. Your hands and your sound need to be clean. Um, I also think versatility is plays a factor too, like how versatile, what different situations you can play in. But I think that's my opinion. But I would say those three: your technique, um, having had come out of a certain type of school, having a actual teacher, and you actually being dedicated to that school, and what else did I say? Clean sound, having a teacher, and well studied and well versed in different languages of the djembe.
I see. So it's multi layers within layers of culture, of study of language within just this one instrument. That's
Yep.
amazing. So I kind of want to switch gears a little bit. You are a prolific jazz drummer, probably one of the most forefront jazz drummers of this generation at this time. Your work with Emmanuel Wilkins is literally insane. It's off the charts. I'm a huge fan.
Thank you.
What is your approach to merging, your backgrounds in djembe and the other traditional African drumming styles that you were brought up in with jazz? What are the parallels that you see? And, what are your goals as far as elevating African diasporic music to be sort of seen, in the global music scene?
My goals in terms of elevating the diasporic music is to just write more music. I'm in a space right now where I'm writing a lot of music. I'm spending a lot of time behind the piano, um, which is what I think is probably most important for me right now. Um, and again, thank you for the kind words. Um, I think the similarities that I've been able to like draw between um, traditional West African drumming and um, jazz drumming is it's just like, if you can simplify it, then simplify it. Like when you look at jazz drumming, it took me a long time to start to actually get to the root of a lot of stuff. Like it took me like much longer than I like for it to have taken me to start checking out like Papa Joe Jones and like Baby Dodds. Okay, you watched the Strawberries? Okay, thank you. And it took me a while to like check that stuff out and really transcribe and really like pay attention to that stuff. But in doing so, I realized that everything has to come from a particular root, and nothing that's being done is new under the sun, right? Everything comes from somewhere. And with djembe, it's pretty much the same thing. If you go and back to listen to like, Papalaji and like Faruba, or if you listen to like older djembe players, some cats from Mali, um, you'll hear you'll hear all of the same language, you'll hear all of the same phrasing, just maybe played a note right under, but it's all there. So those are the things, a lot of the inferences that I've been able to make. As far as what I do to like merge the two worlds, um, hmm. Well, just recently I had taken about like a 2 month break from playing djembe. I hadn't played djembe since probably like August or September, and I just played last week. I would advise not to ever do that. I know better than that, but I did that because I kind of had to, just because I've been touring a lot. Like September, I was out of town. October, the entire month, I was out of the country, and parts of November. And when I got back home, I was so invested in playing a lot of piano and practicing drum set that I kind of just was like, okay, djembe is gonna have to wait. But when you do that, you sacrifice. And I had to pay last week at dance class. My hands were just like, all my calluses came back in one day. So I don't know if whoever's on the call, whoever's gonna hear this, don't do that. All my calluses on my fingertips came back in one day. And so there were like one, two, three, four, five, six, like seven blisters, right? And they was all like, blood under the skin. So I had to like take a needle, pop it, let the blood out, clean it, and then the pain starts, right? I have a whole bunch of like little remedies. I had some medicine that we put on our hands, and I have these ice gloves that I would recommend. If anybody out there, check it out. You can probably find it online. But like, you get some ice gloves, stick your hands in there, and it's just, oh man, so helpful. Some arnica oil, shea butter, some other medicines. So like, yeah, that's definitely, it's been a challenge for me. Nice, looks like a good little snack. That's definitely been a challenge for me in terms of like trying to find a balance between playing djembe and traditional West African hand drumming versus drum set. But then also, I think something that's helped is AC. You see, I'm on the call, right? So please, you can turn on the TV and you can eat your snack. Okay. I don't know. Um, um, yeah, a remedy that I've kind of found is like being able to put a lot of those rhythms on the drum set, um, which helps with my independence and my dexterity and everything. But then also just like splitting my time, I just have to practice. I just have to practice a lot more. That's how I've kind of like rationalized it. Just having to just practice a little bit more, like, and just be more consistent with my practice. Um, I'm trying to make sure I answered all your questions.
Yeah, that was it, man. Even got some juju for the hands, like that's great. That's great stuff. Yeah. There's something that you said, as far as practicing and working on piano, developing those other facets of your musicality. How how has or does you know drumming, traditional African drumming, inform you or inspire you harmonically
Hmm. Uh,
or melodically or both?
oh, that's a good question. Oh, just like like cycles, like a cycle. Thinking cyclically. They actually have an effect on each other. AC, I was saying, eat at the table. All right. AC, I'm on a call. Okay. I'm almost done. All right. But you can eat at the table in the meantime. All right. Um. Yeah. So like, you take a rhythm like takosaba, and this cycle that it goes around over and over, and you can kind of apply that to like maybe some chord changes that you like, um, staying somewhere for a little bit, when to shift, when to go. You know what I'm saying? If I'm making any sense. But like you take a rhythm like tacosa bobs, bing bop bop, bing 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 bop 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 bop, bing 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 bop bop, right? And then you can take some chord changes, like C minor seven to like you know like um to like F sharp, um F sharp sus, and like you can where the sung bar will be playing bing bop 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 bing bop bop. Maybe you're taking like C minor to like something else, like maybe three chords. You like interweave those through that section, and then once you go to the lapel to the run, bing 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 bing. That's when you go to maybe the movement with like F sharp to like A, or F sharp, A, F, something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have a keyboard in front of me, but I'm just trying to think like how I would organize it. But playing djembe rhythms help me think cyclically, um, and it's like super hip. Like the rhythms and everything is super hip. So it's like having that knowledge along with like combining it with different harmonies and melodies and stuff is definitely helpful.
Yeah, yeah, that's dope, man. That's so interesting. Um, I've been reading this book by Kojo Bay released recently, and he gives a lot of history about djembe music in America. It's called Djembe Revolution.
Yeah, I have the
Um,
book. I have the book. I haven't finished it, but I have it. I read maybe like a good five chapters, four chapters.
yeah, yeah, I'm working my way through it, and he talks about his experience with his teacher, his Baba Famadu Konate, and he touches on, the spirituality of the djembe. So I just wanted to get, high level your experience with that. Yeah, what's been your experience with that? What is your take on that?
Yeah, djembe is a very spiritual instrument. I mean, it gets deep because it's like the certain wood that you play can be used to help people with different ailments. Um, yeah, djembe is very spiritual. Hold up, give me 1 second. All right. Yeah, I was saying, yeah, spirituality and djembe. I mean, it goes hand in hand because most folkloric drumming has everything to do with spirit, right? Even like when you approach the instrument, your spirit has to be a certain way. You can't approach the instrument with any animosity, um, or any ill will in your heart because you can actually injure yourself. And you can go as far as to like you can meet your demise that way. Um, so in the spiritual aspect in terms of it affecting other people, I mean, the drum can touch people in so many different ways. It can help heal people. It can make people crazy. It turn people crazy, man. I've seen djembe actually turn people crazy, like lose their mind. But that has everything to do with maybe what was going on inside with them. I've even been experimenting with using djembe, and not just djembe, but hand percussion in general to help with people who are dealing with unresolved trauma, because percussion is linked to has a lot of healing mechanisms, and it's linked to lowering stress in groups of people. Um, so there's that. And yeah, like I was saying, like there are different shells that you will actually play to help heal people, and that's like a whole nother like that's a whole nother like that's a whole nother zoom, that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, yeah, man, it gets deep. Wow, that's exciting. So we got about 5 minutes left. I'm gonna got a few more questions. Who are your top five drummers? Doesn't necessarily have to be djembe, just any genre, anything that inspires, moves, and motivates you.
Oh man, um that's really hard to do. Is it like a dead or alive thing?
No, of all time.
um hmm Man, so many. I listen to so much type of drumming, so many different styles of drumming. Um, I would say Famadou Konate is one of my favorite djembe players. Man, this is really hard. Um, oh man. Now I really dig Changito. Um, man. Man, Roy Haynes. That's three. Man. um, I mean, I guess Elvin Jones is in there. Um, I feel like I have to say Mama D Keita because just the discography. Like, we wouldn't like even when you say like, oh man, what's that rhythm? 9 times out of 10, you probably gonna look up a Mama D record. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I check out a lot of like Numa D Keita. And like I actually transcribe a lot of stuff. Like I've transcribed a whole bunch of Famadu, Numadi, Mamadi. I've like written a lot of stuff out, which has helped a lot for me personally to like dig deep and kind of unfold the unfolding of like some of these cats. Some of like the canon and some of their work. It's like it's super interesting to see it written out on paper. Man, Sungalo, I transcribed some super dope Sungalo stuff. I love Sungalo. So now I'm at 7, so now it's starting to kind of become a little bit,
Man, that's
but yeah,
that's deep, bro.
it's a
That's
lot.
so
And
deep.
I haven't listed any new cats. Like, well, a lot of cats I listed were passed away. Numidi passed away. Roy Haynes passed away. Elvin Jones passed away. Mamadi Keita passed away. So most of my list is not alive. So if I were to go alive, then it'd be like Haruna. I bang with Haruna. I was in a big Basidi Kone phase when I was like kind of coming out of high school. When I moved to New York, I swore by Basidi. I transcribed a whole bunch of his stuff. Um, Petit Adama, and then now it starts to become just now for me. It's like I draw inspiration from my brothers, some of my peers, my good friend Abu Kamada. He lives in New York, but he's been traveling a lot lately. I was just on the phone with him the other day. But I draw inspiration from a lot of like younger cats, and who are like more so in my vicinity, and who may not be really privy to like how dope some of the stuff that they're doing is. You know what I'm saying? Because maybe they're drawing inspiration from me, so they, you know what I'm saying? It's like a vice versa kind of thing. So yeah.
Man, that's amazing. That's amazing. We about to wrap up. How can people get in touch with you? How can people follow your work, support the work that you're doing, maybe get in touch with you for a lesson?
Yeah, so you can support me through any social media platform. I'm pretty much there. If it's your Facebooks, you just look me up, Kweku Sumbry. That's Kweku. Last name Sumbry, Sumbry. You can to get in contact with me. It's best to do email. Kweku Sumbry Drums at gmail.com. I'm also on Instagram. I'm also on Instagram at kwe.drums. That's KWE.DRUMS. Yeah.
Dope.
Yeah.
Dope, bro. Dope, man. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. It's truly an honor to sit down with you and just kind of get your take on all of these things, man.
Cool, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Enjoy your day, bro.
You too. Peace.
Peace, bro.